Manifesting. So what is manifesting all about? So manifesting is, so manifesting is really working in alignment with the universe to get what you want. If, for those of you, and I know some of you on here have read or watched The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, it is a really good entry level manifesting book. There's a lot of things that kind of have been developed since Rhonda Byrne made the concept really, really accessible to people, I guess is probably, hi Kathy. Yeah, accessible to people is probably the best way to put it. And the logic of manifesting is that you can have whatever you want. We were not put on this earth to have really average lives. That's not, like, that is not. So when you're talking about manifesting, we are really dipping into universe here. And universe is God, it's your higher self, it's group consciousness, it's the energy that connects us all. You can name it whatever you want. It's the same thing. And it is just the concept that universe, the universe, or the energy that connects us all, is much bigger than us as human beings having an energetic experience on Earth. And because of that, we weren't created, we weren't put on Earth, we weren't given the ability to dream for us just not to be able to achieve those dreams. And the whole concept of manifesting is that it starts with the self-belief that you can have whatever you want. Like, why can't you? Why can you look at somebody else and go, wow, look what they've got. I could never have that. Well, you could, because you're also a human being. And if you did all the things that they did, then you could also have that. So a lot of manifesting comes down to that belief that actually, I don't need to be small. I don't need to play it small. I don't need to just take what accidentally happens to me in life. I can actually go out and consciously create the goals that I want. And that's the kind of philosophy behind Happy Side Hustle. I'm not just a business coach. I am a find your gift, the one that brings you joy. As you know, you've heard me say this over and over, but find that gift, the thing that brings you absolute joy, and then bring it to the world, because that is what you were born to do. And the things that seem easy to you are not easy for everybody. And when you look at other people, so if you think of people maybe that you admire or that you're maybe slightly envious of, that's not a positive word, but you know what I mean, people maybe that you're really happy for, but you would really aspire to be like them. That's probably a better way to put it. Whatever those things are, those are things that you were meant to be as well, because if you weren't, they wouldn't make you feel any sort of emotion. Do you know, so say you look at somebody and they're a really famous singer, and they're a total celebrity, and you might look at that and go, oh my goodness, I would love that to be my life. That's incredible. And you might think, well, everybody must feel like that, but like, I wouldn't want to be a singer or a celebrity, or like, that's not, you know, that. So we live in our own existence kind of thinking that we all want the same things, but we don't. So whatever it is you want, whatever is important to you, is the thing that you need to work on manifesting. And I'm going to give you some tips as to how you do it a little bit later on. But the first thing is to understand that we are energetic beings living in an energetic world, and everything that you desire already exists to some extent in the world, and you're just not tuned in to the correct frequency to be able to manifest it. Now, I know manifesting does sound a little bit woo-woo if you haven't kind of gone down this route before. It isn't as straightforward. And sometimes I think when you read The Secret, you watch The Secret, I know the first time I did it, I remember saying I had a bit of a manifesting coach at that point. It's a bit of a long story how it came about, but anyway, didn't even know what it was and ended up with a coach who, she was really big on manifesting. And I remember reading The Secret and saying to her, okay, well, I just want to manifest winning the lottery, because surely like that's just the easy one. So I'll just sit around and visualize winning the lottery, and then I'll win the lottery because that's how it works. And she's like, oh, Julie, you've got so much to learn. With manifesting, you have to co-create with the universe. So it's not about going, right, first of all, most people aren't really clear on what they want. So that's step one. But secondly, once you get really clear on what you want, you then need to go, okay, I will work with you, universe, higher self, energy, whatever you want to call it. I will work with you to create this. I won't sit about, doubt that I'm going to get it, and then be right when it doesn't happen. What I will do is, whenever I decide what I want, I will go through the process of manifesting. I will play my part in it, and I will look for action that I can take to make sure that I create the future that I want. I was out with a friend for dinner last night doing the eat out to help out thing. It's brilliant. And she was talking about her goal. So she has a goal. We went to university together, so we've been friends for a long, long time. And she's in a job that she doesn't totally love, just put it like that, like most people. And she's got this business idea, and she said to me, she's like, I feel really awkward saying it to you, because I know like you're a bit of an expert in this. So she had this business idea, and she said to me, let me kind of tell you what it is and see what you think. Now, it was a good idea, something that was quite novel, actually. I thought it was a good idea. Anything is a good idea if you feel totally passionate about it and you can really kind of take the action needed to make it happen. Anyway, so she said to me, right, and I said, okay, so what are you going to do with that? And she went, yep, I will, whenever my next contract finishes, then I will probably see if I can maybe get some time. And I'm like, no. You cannot have a great business. And she's had a series of business ideas that have not gone anywhere. And the reason that they haven't gone anywhere is because she hasn't been able to allocate time to them. And rightly in her head, she's gone, well, I work full-time, which she does, and she's a really hard worker. So she probably works way more than the hours that she's meant to work. She has two relatively young children, 11 and 13, I think. So, I think that's young. My kids are much older than that now. And she's got a husband, and, so she said by the time she finishes work and she makes tea and the kids' homework and whatever, and then the kids go to bed, there's no time. Like, but is there not? Is there not any time, friend of mine who I won't name? Because if you really wanted to create time, you could. She doesn't need to work 3 extra hours a day in her day job. She does it. It's a habit, and she's very good at what she does. But she doesn't have to do that extra work every day. That's a habit that could change. She does spend time with the kids, definitely. And I would never say, no, block out and don't spend time with the kids. I would never say that, or with your family or whatever. But there will be times where the kids are maybe doing homework, or, they've settled down, or they've got friends around or whatever. There will be moments when there is time. When the kids go to bed, there probably is time. Like, maybe she spends every evening with her husband. Maybe she could take an hour one night out of the 7 to work on her business. So there's always, we tell ourselves all the reasons why we can't do something. I just thought it was really interesting, because she's a real action taker, like a real go-getter. I've always absolutely admired her from I met her, but her excuses about why she couldn't make this business work. And in the end, when it came to, and I met her at uni, so we're both psychologists. So in the end, she said to me, do you know what it is? I'm just scared. I'm scared that it's not going to work. I'm scared that I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm scared that if I show up, I really show up, then people might laugh, or it might be a complete failure. I'm like, wow, do you know, and I'm not perfect. Of course, I'm not perfect, but she knows what I know. Well, she went a slightly different path to me, but she certainly had the same foundation as I did. She's got a master's. We went right through our master's degree together. But it was only last night that occurred to her, that occurred to her. Anyway, manifesting is about taking, so what she was doing is she was setting herself massive goals and then taking no action and then going, see, it didn't work out. So she would be like, I said, we were talking about goals last night, and we agreed we were going to meet up again in 3 months. And we were going to set goals, and then we've set a date, and we're like, right, let's reassemble in 3 months. We'll meet up for dinner again, and we'll both be accountable. So we'll both tell each other what we've achieved in the 3 months. But what you've achieved in the 3 months is not going to happen unless you do the action. So she went away, and in fact, she couldn't even decide her goal. So she had a goal where she wanted to launch a business and make $1 million. That was her goal, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just unlikely to happen with zero effort in a very short time. There's a lot. So although the universe is anything is possible, anything is achievable, you still need to take it in steps. So what we were talking about last night was, okay, well, that it's great to have that goal, like make $1 million. She has a real kind of visual picture of her and her husband standing and on a beach, and yeah, and that's fantastic. However, it might happen by November, but at the moment, with her having no time to do anything with it, the odds are lower. So what we agreed was a good process would be to have a goal, and then a goal beyond the goal, and then a goal beyond the goal again, if you need to. So it's the same with your side hustle. It's really good. And I know on day one of the mastermind, we spent some time thinking about this, but it's useful to revisit this regularly. What is your goal? So what do you ultimately want your happy side hustle to create in your life? How do you want, because nobody just wants a business. People want the happiness, or the whatever the word is for you, the feeling, the freedom, the control over your own destiny, whatever are the words that really, when I'm saying those, you might go, they're not for me. So what are your words? But some of those you might go, that's exactly what I want. It's difficult to set a goal to have freedom of your own destiny and complete financial independence by, the end of September. Like that, immediately your thoughts go, well, I can't do that. There's no way, that's not possible. Which we're going to work on. But I think it's great to have a goal, and then a goal beyond the goal, and then a goal beyond that as well. So you set something and you go, right. So for me, when I was talking to my friend last night, I said, right, by, I think it's the 18th of November, we're meeting up again. On the 18th of November, this is what I am going to have achieved. And it's a stretch, but it's possible. It is not my ultimate goal by any means, but if I could do that by November, I would be a lot closer to what my ultimate goal is. So does that make sense? So the first thing when we're thinking about manifesting is you need to know what you want to manifest, and you have to have absolute clarity on that, because the universe needs specificity. So let me go through the 7 steps that I want, and then I'll answer questions at the end, and I'll do a bit more kind of chatting around how I've implemented this. So I'm just glancing down because I've written the names of the 7 steps to remind me. So step 1, get clear on what you want. So pick a date, pick what you would like to have happened by that date. Now that can be a monetary thing, that can be a feeling, that could be in terms of your side hustle, that could be a number of sales, that could be a part of the setup process that you have reached, that could be your first glowing customer review. Whatever feels important to you, Whatever would make you feel great. Like, what would make you feel great? Decide that, put a date on it. That's your first goal. And that's what you're going to focus on manifesting first. And it doesn't mean there's not a goal beyond that. You should always, because the universe always needs to know that you want to be pushing forward. It's not, I'm getting to the goal and that's it. That's me done. And that's my life perfect. So for step one, decide on the goal. You can have a number of goals. The more goals you have, the more work it will take to manifest them, because you have to do a lot of focusing. I would suggest you just pick one thing initially to try this process out, because once you understand manifesting and the process, you can use it for anything and everything in your life. You can literally create a shopping list of how you want your life to be, and then you can just manifest it. Honestly. Okay, so step one, get clear on what it is you want to manifest. So step two is now tell the universe what you want, say it out loud. It's really important, first of all, to write it down. There's a real power in writing it down, because then we're committing to it. If you just have a sort of rough goal in your head, you're like, yeah, probably I'd quite like to make £500 from my side hustle by November. I'd quite like to do that. It's not really, there's no accountability there for a start. You might forget, you might get to November and go, wow, I've made like £2,000 in my side hustle. What was that I wanted to make again? So you don't have that joy of celebrating it. Also, when you say to other people, when you announce, this is my goal, now you have to be careful with this, because you don't want to be seen as being braggy nearly. So you don't want to announce to your customers. And I have seen small business owners, shall we say, do that. Nobody within this community, but I have seen people saying, oh, I've got a goal that I would really like to reach X amount by the end of the year, because I've got my eye on this new car or whatever. And I read that and I go, I don't feel drawn to providing that for you. So I'm not necessarily saying you would use this in your social media or whatever with your customers, but certainly, if you've got somebody supportive in your family, or of a supportive friend or something like that, that you can, or like me and my friend, an accountability buddy, and see if you haven't, if that makes you go cold, that thought of going to someone in your family or going to a friend and saying, my goal, and I'm going to try and manifest this. If having that conversation with somebody just makes you go cold because you think, I don't have anybody in my life that isn't going to either laugh at that or whatever, then accountability buddies within the mastermind has just occurred to me, literally just occurred to me. So you could partner up, you could get like a side hustle sister, and you can have those conversations together. For anyone that wants to do manifesting, not everybody within this mastermind will necessarily be drawn to this. But I would suggest, even if you're going, I'm not sure, honestly, try it. There's zero to lose from this. There's zero to lose from this. And some incredible things can happen when you manifest. Okay, so you need to ask the universe. You need to say it out loud. You need to ask the universe through, so if you're religious, that is literally prayer, but you can ask it through meditation. You can ask it through like a guided meditation, just sitting in silence, just affirmations. So repeating it out loud, writing it down. So writing it down 10, 20, 30 times a day. A really good tip that Denise Duffield Thomas, I don't know if you ever come across her, she's an amazing Australian money coach, and she suggests that you change. So whenever you sum up what it is you want to manifest into one short sentence or as few words as possible. So say you want to manifest £500. Say that's your first starter goal. And of course you want to go beyond that, but that's your starter goal. She suggests that you change your passwords to £500, or obviously not the super secure ones, but anything where you could change your password, so that you're typing it in regularly, so that you're writing it down, or you could create a vision board, and I think we'll do another masterclass on vision boards in the near future. But you could create a vision board, and all that needs to be is either just put in, like, you could print out a blank check. In fact, I could put a blank check into, I'll put a blank check into the units, I'll share it in the group. You could just fill that out. If it's money that you want to manifest, you could just fill that out and put it somewhere where you can see it every day, or put it in your purse or your wallet, and stick it on the wall. So just something where manifesting doesn't work when you sit through something like this and you go, oh, I'd quite like to manifest £500, just to use the same example. But by next Tuesday, you've sort of forgotten about that again. So yeah, get absolute clarity on what it is that you want, and then ask the universe. The third element of manifesting is do the work. So Tony Robbins, who is a very, very highly revered motivational speaker, added on, so takes a lot of the stuff that I've trained in, so around neurolinguistic programming and manifesting and The Secret, and he adds in, and a number of people have added this in since, but it's absolutely key: take massive action. And it's such a brilliant term, isn't it? Because it's back to my first starter with The Secret. Oh, I want to win the lottery, so I'll sit back and I'll just go, I want to win I'll write it down and I'll put it like on my wall. Go, right, I'm going to win the lottery. And I told a few friends, I think I'm going to win the lottery. I've written this book. I've read this book, and I think I'm going to win the lottery. I didn't. However, with manifesting, you have to let go of the how. So you have to be clear on what you want to receive, but you have to be open to the universe delivering that to you in whatever way you want. So you might say, I want to make £500 in my side hustle by November. And you might, and then you might write that down every day. You might change your password to that. You might have it on your wall. And then you might find that you've been overpaying on your electricity and gas account. And when you change suppliers, a refund check drops through your door for £500. And what you have to do is you have to go, and this is coming on to the next point, you have to go, wow, that I manifested. So you don't go, oh, wow, that isn't what I wanted, £500 for my side hustle. You have to go, I asked for £500 and £500 appeared. You have to be open to those signs and not attached to the how, because it's the end result. It's what do you want as the end result. Okay, so 1 is get clear on what you want. 2 is ask the universe. 3 is do the work. 4 is trust the process. Okay, so this can be challenging at the beginning. So when you go, right, I have asked the universe for this, and I am waiting, and I am waiting, and I'm waiting, and it's not appeared yet. I wish it would hurry up, because I really want that £500, and it hasn't dropped through my door like Julie said it might, and I've got the check on the wall and I look at it every day and it still hasn't happened, and it's probably not going to happen. Oh, this isn't going to work for me. Actually, I think this is all, and as soon as you go down that rabbit hole, you go, this is all nonsense. I don't know why I'm doing it. It's absolutely definitely not going to work. So the universe either delivers immediately or it delivers at the right timing, at your divine timing, and you don't know when that's going to be. So you need to keep trusting the process. Trust the process. So if you find in your head you're going, I started off really excited about this, but I just feel now it's a whole load of nonsense, could you maybe read another book on manifesting to bring your vibration right back up again? Could you just change the story in your head? How often am I talking to you about that? If you've got a story in your head that says manifesting doesn't work, that's not based on any facts whatsoever. You could change the story to, I bet manifesting does work. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. So I was having this conversation with my son a couple of days ago, actually, because he was talking about, what was he talking? Oh, he was talking about things that are impossible. So he was like, oh, no one would ever be able to, I don't know, like invent a time machine or something. And I was like, well, at the moment, we don't think that's not something that we think is possible. However, the fact that someone has a thought, and there's been a lot of thoughts over the years about inventing a time machine, means that it started as a thought. Now, with manifesting, everything starts as a thought, and thoughts become things. So the fact that there's a lot of people thinking about a time machine means that probably there are people trying to work out how to do it. And maybe it isn't something that we are capable of doing right now in this plane of existence. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there was one point where someone had a thought about an aeroplane. And someone thought, wow, wouldn't it be good if we could build like a little tube and put people in it and take them across oceans? And before that was invented, people were going, well, that's not possible, is it? It's not possible. And we can't see it. We don't know. There's no scientific evidence for that. So it can't possibly be true. We can only see 4% of the light rays that are presented to us. We can only see 4% of the spectrum of light that is in front of us right now. And if you look, I learned that through my son's physics, and if you can think about all the kind of the X-rays and the gamma rays and everything that we do know and we do accept exists because it's been scientifically proven, but we can't see it. So why do we believe it? We believe it because science has proved it. But do we really know that science has proved it? Like, could we have a different thought? Because there's plenty of people, aren't there, that say, I'm not sure. I think that's a conspiracy theory. I think the earth is flat and all of that. So we're just constantly in control of what we believe. So when you choose to believe in manifesting, then you're the type of person that receives manifestation. That bit is, I think that bit when I started was the hardest. Now, as you know, I just walk around in life going, well, isn't it so much nicer to believe that you can just manifest what you want than it is to be a real skeptic and go, well, that's not possible. It's not possible for me to have a great life. There's no way I can have as great a life as somebody else. Like, and the people that come into my mastermind are not those people. You are the people that are quite happy to go, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go, because what's the worst that can happen? You walk around feeling happy in advance for something that is possible. You feel that life's possible. You feel that you can create your own life to be whatever you want. Or you walk about going, well, that's not possible at all. I just have to remain stuck. Like, see, even if manifesting isn't true for you, it's still a nicer way to think. I hope that makes sense. But I go on about that a lot, about everything. There's a little, so hold on, I've written down a little affirmation for trusting. So to come up with your own version, you can use this exact affirmation if you want, or come up with your own version of it. But the one that I use is, each day my goals are getting closer, the universe has my back. So if I start to go, I really was hoping that I would have paid off that credit card by now, or whatever it is I'm thinking. And I go, that was part of the plan, and COVID happened, and, money, like my whole day job kind of disappeared. And so then I go, okay, so I was hoping that would have happened. I've got two choices now. It hasn't happened. This is just a theoretical stuff. It hasn't happened yet. I can either go, well, that's it. It's never going to happen. Yeah, I'll just forget it and I'll stop taking the action and whatever. Or you go, I wonder when that's going to happen and I can't wait. It's just a happier, nicer way to be. Okay. Number 5, high vibes. So we talked about this for anybody that tuned into the Happy Hustle Show. A few episodes ago, we talked about high vibes. We did quite a lot on that, but let me just recap here. So keeping your vibe high, we're all energy, we're all vibrate at a certain level. You know people that vibe high and you know people that vibe low, and the people that vibe high are the people that you really like to spend time with, the people that are energy generators as opposed to energy hoovers. When you are spending time with people that are low vibe, you come away and you feel very drained and you feel that you've given them so much of your energy. When you're high vibe, you are just everything about your whole body and your whole energy is attractive. It's you're attracting the high vibe things in the world. You're attracting other high vibe people. Within this mastermind, there's a whole raft of them, which is so brilliant. But you're attracting the high vibe things to your world. And we talked about, again, in the Happy Hustle show, we talked about how to keep your vibe high. And you can do it through singing and through dancing and through affirmations and through like even just smiling, even just when you don't feel like it, physically smiling raises your vibe. It releases endorphins. It makes you feel better. It is your responsibility to keep your vibe as high as possible, as often as possible. It's not possible to be high vibe all the time. We all have a roller coaster life. So it's not about when things happen, not feeling it and suppressing it, anything like that. We were born as humans to experience the full kind of menu of emotions that are presented to us. And that's as it should be. But what we need to make sure is that if we do kind of, if our vibes do go down, that after a certain period, we start to take action to bring them back up again. So there's an appropriate period. Rotten things happen. There's an appropriate kind of mourning period. And I just use mourning in the very general sense when something hasn't gone great in your life. But there is also the moment when you go, okay, it's now time to draw a line and to raise my vibe again. And the reason that I'm raising my vibe again is because I want to create the very best life that I can possibly have, that I was put on this world to have. I want to co-create it with the universe. So that's number 5. Number 6 is notice the signs. When you work with the universe and the universe knows exactly where you want to be, so what's your first goal, the universe will start to send you signs and you have to tune into them. So say again, let's go back to the, I want to make £500 in my side hustle by November. So what you might find is that you have got slightly behind in the mastermind tasks and you see a video of me popping up or a message from me popping up to say, don't worry, I know it's fine. People get behind, life gets in the way. Here's an implementation week. If you've got a chance to catch up, you could. So you might look at that and go, oh, there's a sign. I need to make sure that I go back and go through all those tasks if they're appropriate for me, so that I am right up to date. So I'm ready to properly launch and market my side hustle next week. It may be that you say when you're thinking about, so when you're thinking about your goal, you want to be thinking about more than just the £500, to keep going with that example. You want to be thinking about, how does that feel? And it isn't £500 you want, it's what do you want to do with it? What feeling will that give you? Do you need it to pay bills? If you had £500, would that make you go, oh, I feel so relieved? Or would it make you go, oh, I'm so excited, I can finally do this thing or use it for this thing? Or what? None of us really want money, because money doesn't exist. Money is just a piece of paper. Money is an energy exchange. So what is the energy that you want from the money? So thinking about that, then you'll start to see signs that point you in that direction. And you can start to see really literal signs. So things like, I don't know if you've ever come across that. And I put a post earlier up about it because I see it all the time. And now I'm going to point it out to you. And if you haven't noticed it before, you're going to notice it for the rest of your life. Repeating numbers are a sign. So I pretty much always glance at the clock at 11:11 in the morning and always at 11:11 at night. Not always, but far too regularly for it to be a coincidence. And without going too far down the wee-wee path, repeating numbers in 11:11 is a sign from the universe. It's a sign from your angels. It's a sign that you're following the path to enlightenment. So that's getting it. Maybe I'm maybe pushing it here in the realms of what you're prepared to accept from me in the first masterclass in manifesting. That repeating numbers are a sign. A robin in the garden is a sign. A feather is a sign. So there are mega signs going on for me at the moment. There is a feather that's right at my front door, and it's literally been there for about 2 weeks, and it's got 3 stripes on it. It's got a kind of a grey stripe and a white stripe and a black stripe at the top. And I looked at it and I thought, that's weird, because it's a really big feather and it's right on my doorstep. So it's, you know, and it's sort of sticking up like a little tree. And I thought, that's very noticeable. And I do see feathers a lot. And I thought, I must go in and Google what like a striped feather like that means, because anything you see that might be a sign, just Google it and you'll soon find out. Anyway, I hadn't got around to it. And it was there for ages, but I'm not really going in like my front door much because I'm not like going to work. So I was in the garden last weekend because the kids had friends around. We put the tent up, and when I put the tent up, right at the side of the garden, there was the same feather in my garden, so nowhere near my front doorstep now, like pushed into the ground. And I said to the kids, did one of you take that feather from the front door and move it around here? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? How did exactly the same feather attract my attention again in the back garden? And I went back in and I thought, right, I definitely need to Google it now. And it is a sign. And it did mean something to me. Anyway, this morning, I went out to get the milk because we get our milk delivered. And I noticed that the feather was still at the front doorstep. And for a minute, I thought it was back at the front doorstep. But actually, when I went to the garden, I realized there's 2 feathers that are exactly the same, that are like literally this length. They're not just like little tiny, they look, I don't know what they would have come off, but not like just a little tiny flying bird that's like, they look like they've come off a peacock, or I don't know. There's 2 feathers. So the universe will send you a sign, and it will continue to send you a sign until you start to notice. But you can totally block this out. When you were young, when you were like really young, I'm getting a bit too woo-woo, but your third eye was open and you would be able to see stuff beyond the plane of existence that we live on. But we have closed that down. We've closed it down. So as an adult, it's really unlikely that's still open for you unless you've done a lot of work on this. But you can, when you show gratitude for the signs, so when you see, and the sign could just be like, my aunt died in January, and my family are, they would be open to this, but they're certainly not, like, I don't come from like a totally woo-woo family. And my auntie absolutely loved sunflowers. Like that was a thing that you would know about. She just really loved sunflowers. And after she died, we just saw sunflowers everywhere in January. So it's not like it's sunflower season, you know. So a post would come up on Facebook and it would be a poem like about, you know, missing somebody, and there'd be a picture of a sunflower behind it. You know, you would go, so I had to go into the shop to get something for the funeral. I was just getting tissues, and there was a whole like bunch of sunflowers available to buy on the counter in January. Like just weird things happened. And then at our funeral, they give out sunflower seeds. But I was really interested in watching them all talking about it, because they were like, oh, I saw more sunflowers today, or and they were sharing Facebook posts and going, gosh, look at that. That's like my mum speaking to us. And when somebody dies, again, one of the signs that people regularly associate with someone kind of just showing you that they're still there, because I believe that when people die, they're still, their energy, energy doesn't die. We know that from quantum physics. So their energy is still there. And one of the things that people believe is that a robin is a sign of somebody being there. And honestly, my dad died about 4 years ago. My mum died a long time ago. And we've got robins galore in our garden, and we always have. And when my family would come up and stay, they'd be like, wow, look at the robins that are in your garden. Well, we never see robins. And since my auntie died, who was my mum's sister, and they live down in England, since my auntie died, they see robins. They're just constantly taking photos of robins that are in their garden and sharing it. And anyway, There are signs out there and they will be meaningful for you. What you need to do is notice the signs and be grateful for the signs. So when you notice them and you accept, so if you get a gut intuition that it's a sign for you that you're getting closer to your goal, it's a sign for you that you're getting closer to your goal. Don't second guess it. Don't block it. Don't bring in the whole, yeah, but that could just be whatever. Everything in the world is happening for you. And when something happens and there's a message in it or a lesson in it for you, take that lesson and see how that can get you closer to your goal. And your goal will be where you want to go in life. Okay, the last one. So number 7 is clear your resistance. And that is the biggie. And when I'm talking here, there's probably things coming up in your head going, but if everybody could just do this, why isn't everybody living a perfect life? Blah, blah. I don't want to go too woo, but I genuinely think that we're put on earth to have a learning experience. And I think the more that we tune into that and the more that we go with our intuition, we go with our gut and we try and create the very best life that we can create for ourselves. And that's not selfish, because I can hear those blocks coming up. It's not selfish, because when you're happy and your vibration is high, you're rippling out. Remember, you're rippling out to the people in your family, to the people around you. You're creating opportunities, you're creating options, you're creating freedom for yourself. And then you can choose. So if one of your goals, or your goal beyond the goal beyond the goal, like my friend, is to be a millionaire, that's what she wants to do. I don't know if I want to be a millionaire. I'm not averse to it. There's definitely, everybody needs to do work on money blocks. I definitely, when I say, do I want to be a millionaire? I'm kind of going, I don't know if I do, but imagine if you were a millionaire, what good you can do in the world. We've quite often got money blocks around money where, maybe when you were younger, someone has said to you, oh yeah, but money is the root of all evil. The films we watched when we were younger, there was always like the evil rich man. If you think back to A Christmas Carol, there's the evil rich man. He needs taught a lesson because rich people. And look at poor wee, whatever you called him, can't remember, the poor wee boy in Christmas Carol, and he's Bob Cratchit. And Bob Cratchit has no money and he's an angel. And the rich man, he's evil. And that has been threaded through our programming as we've gone through life. And now when I say to people, okay, so what is your money goal? I can just see the resistance, because people are like, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, it's awkward, we don't talk about money. I wouldn't want to be too rich. You see people going, oh, that's too much. The lottery's up to 10 million. I mean, that's just too much. I wouldn't want that. Would you not? Like, why? Imagine if you had the 10 million. So here's the thing. When you're attracted here and you're in this mastermind and you have stayed this long to listen to me, you are a good, decent person on a journey to be happy and create the most out of your life. Because of that, imagine someone gave you 10 million. You're not going to be an evil idiot, are you? It's not going to turn you into somebody evil. Imagine what you could do with 10 million pounds. Like, what is coming up for you? Like, the hairs are standing up in the back of my neck saying that. If I had 10 million pounds, oh my God, I would be like, oh, let me pay your mortgage off for you. Let me pay your mortgage off for you. Let me support this charity. Let me fund the rugby club that we can't, it's struggling and locally. And imagine if you just had the money to be able to do all the things that are great, that resonate with you as amazing things in the world. Like money never, for good people like us. I'm not saying there aren't people where money doesn't make them an absolute and total idiot, because we can see that in the president of America, can't we? Like, we can see that. But I don't think that Donald Trump was an absolute gem of a human being before he became rich. I don't think he was somebody like us that would be attracted to something like this, that was trying to work out how to be happy and bring joy to the world and unleash the gift to the world. So it's not money that's the root of all evil. Just it's behavior, and it's experience, and there's a bit of luck. Well, there's a bit of luck as in what you come across and how your paths cross, but also there's a bit of looking for the sign. And for some of you, the sign to the start of this journey was my Facebook ad appearing on your Facebook feed and you clicking on it. There was a sign that you acted on, because that's how most of you came into my world. I've got another Facebook ad campaign that started again now, and honestly, like the number of people that are just clicking on it. But of course, on every ad, then I get people going, I had somebody yesterday put underneath one of the ads that I'd paid for, tagged their friend in it, and they went, oh, look, this looks really good. And then their friend obviously looked at it and she went, yeah, she's only making it free for 5 days. And then the other girl went, yeah, let's not bother. And it's like, really? Should I just do everything free always? Like, I'm trying to do anyway. But you people are the people that saw that as a positive sign. And we're not in the majority. We're not in the majority, the people that are open to manifesting, the people that are prepared to take the action. Because you're action takers. You joined the mastermind. You have done the daily tasks in as far as they're relevant to your business, and you're in for a year. So don't feel guilty if you're sitting there going, oh, I haven't done some of them. That's totally fine. You're in for a year. You do them in the right order for you and at the right time for you. But you are action takers. You've come here and given up your lunch to listen to me talking about this today. You're action takers so you can create any life that you want. But let's just look at the first goal, and then we'll work on the goal beyond the goal. So yesterday, I recorded a guided meditation to help you with manifesting, because I know the whole clearing your resistance bit is, I think, the bit that causes people the most challenge. So I want to try and help you with that. So again, as you probably remember, I'm also a hypnotherapist, used to have a hypnotherapy practice. Haven't done it for a while, but I've been listening to lots of guided meditations myself, and it got me thinking, actually, I think this is really helping me. So I wanted to create something that would help you with this. And I think what I'll try and do from now on is to just do a masterclass and then maybe a guided meditation that goes with it. So if you find that helpful and that works for you, generally the principles with guided meditations are, first of all, to say, do not do it. So it's like a form of hypnosis. It really is a form of hypnosis. But so do not do it when you're driving. Don't listen to it when you're driving. Operating heavy machinery is the one that you're always meant to say at the beginning. But you know what I mean? Like, make sure that you're doing it, when you're in bed, or you've got kind of 10 minutes to just like lie on the sofa and you're not going to be disturbed. But the principle is, listen to it as often as you can. So the suggestion is 21 times. 21 times becomes a habit. The idea is that when you keep focusing, so it's going to help you focus on where do you want to be, where do you want to be, where do you want to be every day, and really motivate and inspire you to take that massive action that's going to make the difference. So let me recap on the 7 steps, and then I will take any questions that you have got before we finish up. So number 1, just glancing back down to, so I get the wording right. Number 1 is get clear on what you want. So basically just work out exactly what is my first goal. The second one is ask the universe, and you can do this through meditation, visualization, vision boards, or prayer if you're religious. Number 3 is do the work, take massive action, do something every single day to get you closer to where you want to be. Just one thing, one tiny thing. You will thank yourself in a week, you'll thank yourself in a month. You don't have to, when I say massive action, I don't mean clear the decks now and for the next 3 weeks only work on this. I mean, just keep moving forward. Don't stall. When you start getting a bit of momentum, things become easier and easier. So just create some time for yourself so you can do something every day, on top of the tasks that you're already doing in the mastermind, because you already have that discipline as well. Number 4 is trust the process. So don't be discouraged, and remember the mantra, each day my goals are getting closer. The universe has my back. You can't even say that without smiling. Like, each day my goals are getting closer. The universe has my back. That feels so good. Number 5, keep your vibrations high. Remember, we want to be attracting high vibe goals to us. Number 6 is notice the signs. So looking out for things in your, even if it's weird, even if you can actually ask for signs. You can if you're not sure, you can go, look, give me a sign that I'm moving closer to my goal, and then just wait and see what happens, and see if you notice a feather or a Facebook ad or somebody coming in and something unexpected coming in the post, or something turning up in your email, or something on TV that makes you go, whoa, wow, that's just exactly what I was thinking about. So notice those signs and be grateful for them, and therefore you'll get more. And 7, clear your resistance. And that's what I've created the guided meditation to do, to help you. So 1 hour almost on manifestation. Let me just take these out of the way so I can answer any questions. For those of you that are still here with me, let me know your thoughts. So I know there's a slight delay here. I'm just going to have a drink. What are you thinking about a side hustle sister as an accountability partner? How would that feel? What I can do is I could do a post. Just jot this down. I could do a post and see. Obviously, it wouldn't be mandatory, but it's quite a nice thing to talk about and set a date and have an accountability partner with, should you decide that manifesting is for you. I think so. What I'm going to do with the mastermind is, on top of, obviously the steps are there, and they'll, so that program keeps repeating through the year, so you can jump in and out of it. You're already working on manifesting. Brilliant, Jo. Would you be happy to share what you're manifesting? It's fine if you wouldn't, but if you want to for accountability, I'd love to hear. So what I'm thinking with the mastermind is that, so we need the practical actions to take to set up a side hustle, and of course they will still be there, and that will be the foundation of the program. But what I've noticed now over the last year that it's been running is, what people have the biggest challenge with is marketing and mindset. It's marketing and mindset. So what I'm going to keep adding in then are additional masterclasses, and I think guided meditations and resources to help you with those 2 things. So once your side hustle is up and running, those are the things that help it to grow and grow and grow and grow. That is part of the process of taking you closer to your goal and where you want to be. Angela, I always look at the time when it's a repeated number, and it always makes me feel happy. I never knew why. I am aware that this is starting to maybe feel a little bit woo-woo to some people that aren't as into this, but Google it, Angela. Google it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The reason why you keep seeing repeated numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. Yes, Marina. Also a sign. And it's really, like, I'll just say to my husband now, guess what time it is? And he goes, 11:11. But like, I'm not looking at my watch, or I'm not looking at the clock at pretty much any other time of the day, but I rarely miss it. And this morning I was so excited because I was I know I had 111 people signed up for my next challenge at 11:11 this morning. I was like, come on. Oh, Joe Dispenza. Now, that's exactly what I was talking to my friends about last night, Joe, the Joe Dispenza meditations. I help you change certain emotions, so I'm learning to be more patient with your challenging kids and starting your side hustle. Yeah. If anybody hasn't come across Joe Dispenza, he's one of the kind of main people behind The Secret. He's very, very science-based. So if you're listening, so if you're watching this now or at a later stage and you're going, not sure what I think about what Julie's just said, Joe Dispenza, thanks for flagging that up, Joe. Joe Dispenza is a brilliant name to Google, and because Joe Dispenza is a scientist who explains the science behind manifesting, and the science is very confusing. Yeah, I completely agree, but I don't I just don't need the science. Like, I'm just quite happy to believe anything that makes me happy, because I just think the science is what we understand right now. Just as I was saying earlier, the science, like, there's so many things that we go, there's no scientific evidence for that. And you're like, yeah, but see, in 20 years, there probably will be. And we'll go, I can't believe we didn't have scientific evidence for that. But for a lot of people, the science is important to have the credibility. And Joe Dispenza does a brilliant, brilliant job of explaining that. Start with his YouTube videos. Yeah, that's great advice, Joe. Okay, does anybody have any questions before I finish up? Because that is almost the hour. It's totally fine if not. I really appreciate you joining me today. I will, so because I'm recording this, I won't go on about when I'll see you next, but when I'll see you next. It's just everything as normal this week. So if you've got any additional questions, just throw them into the mastermind group, and I will be happy to answer. I can't remember when you set up your Spotify. Did you have good vibrations on it? Do you know what, Angela? I don't think I did. I'm putting it on. And what I want to do is, what I really want to make clear is that although I've set up the Spotify playlist, just to add to it, like, just because what I do now is, if I'm going out, I just put that playlist on when I'm getting ready. And in terms of good vibrations, exactly, Angela, in terms of good vibrations, it really helps. I think music really helps to change your mood. Going back to numbers, I can't stop thinking about 42 when you talk about the universe. That's because you're of a certain age, Marina, like myself. But yes, 42 is the answer. Yeah. But do you know what would be really interesting, now that we've talked about this? Let me know in the mastermind group if you notice any repeating numbers over the next week, because I feel pretty certain that you will. And even if you've been noticing them before, like if you happen to just glance at the time and it's 11:11 or whatever, or 1, 2, 3, 12:34, or anything where you think, yeah, that feels significant, then just drop a note into the mastermind, and we'll track it together, because we're going to be, the more that you train yourself to look for the signs, and if you're not sure if it's a sign, just trust your intuition. So let me just end with a really a story that's hilarious now with hindsight, but I was raging at the time. So I was talking about signs years and years ago so my kids were really young. We were at this play, what's it called? So it's like it's a farm, but it's got a big park in it. A lot of the things. Anyway, it's called East Links. It's got, for any of you that are in Scotland. It's your daughter's birthday on the 22nd. Love it. My birthday's on the 23rd. You've just made me disappointed, Angela. Although 23rd is sequential numbers, but I'd rather be born on the 22nd. I wonder if I was overdue. Anyway, so I was at this play farm, right? And I'd gone with a group of neighbours and all their kids. We all had kids that were like, I think they were maybe about 5 and 6 and 7, around that age. And we'd all got one of those big picnic tables, and we'd got lunch. And do you remember, for those, well, a lot of you might still have young kids, or you haven't even got this far, but I remember when my kids were younger, you would go everywhere and you would have you wouldn't want to buy the lunchbox out of the place. So you would bring, the Capri Sun and the sandwich and the yogurt and the banana and the raisins and whatever. Anyway, we were all getting our lunches out for the kids, and we'd put the kids at a separate table. They were really excited to be sitting at a table that was beside us but separate from us, and all the adults were sitting at this table, right? So I was sitting on a picnic table, like one of those typical picnic benches. So it's got the bench, it's got the table, and it's got the bench at the other side. So my husband was standing kind of over at the kids, just, I don't know, opening Capri Suns or whatever. And I start to tell my neighbours this story about my friend and how she'd seen a sign of a white feather. And again, it's a friend who really would be quite skeptical about this sort of thing. So not like, I do have sort of wee-wee friends. She's definitely not a wee-wee friend. But she had been telling me that so someone had recently passed away in her family, and she'd been telling me that ever since they'd passed away, she kept spotting white feathers, and that's quite a well-known sign. It's quite a sign that a lot of people experience. So she said, she would go out and there would be one lying in the road and whatever. And anyway, she was telling me that this day. So she said, at first she'd kind of thought, well, that's weird, but she said it was nearly like a flood of feathers that just kept appearing, and she kept going, I'm not sure, so she said it to me, and I'm going, that's a sign, it's definitely a sign. She's like, I'm not sure. Anyway, she had driven out to see me the previous day, and she's somebody who, her house is always immaculate. She's always immaculate herself, and her car's immaculate, right? Which mine isn't always immaculate, put it like that. I try my best, but it's not up there on my top list of priorities of things to do. Anyway, but it is for her. Like, she would clean her car pretty much every day. Anyway, she had driven to see me, and when we parked in the car park, she said, come over. And I went over, and she rolled down the window and she went, look, and on the passenger seat of her car was this pure white feather, just sitting, quite a big white feather, just sitting on the passenger seat. And she said, that wasn't there yesterday because I cleaned the car. And I've come into the car today and there's a feather in there and there's no way it could have got in there. Anyway, I'm telling my neighbours this story, right? And they're all sitting around the table, and they're all like, the women are kind of totally, the guys are, that's very general, but in this specific group, the guys were pretty much more skeptical. They're like, But I'm going, honestly, I said, and this is, a white feather, and this was me just kind of starting this journey. A white feather, is the sign, it's a signal from the angels. It's a signal that somebody is kind of looking out for you, and a really comforting sign for people, right? And as I'm talking, this white feather just, how wet feathers, like if they're kind of floating down, it goes like this, right down, and it lands right on the table in front of me. And I'm telling them this story, and I look at the feather and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And I'm looking at the feather, right? And I'm looking up to my friends thinking, I cannot believe that. Like, this is incredible. I'm telling them this story and I'm educating them about feathers, and the universe has just sent me a sign, and this feather has just landed right in front of me. I look up and they're all like in hysterics, and I'm thinking, why would that be funny? I can't believe that you don't believe what I'm saying. And when I looked behind, it was my husband who had picked, because it was a farm, there was loads of feathers lying about. He picked up a feather, and I, unbeknown to me, because he was behind me, but they could see him, he'd lifted it above my head and just kind of let, and he was doubled over. He couldn't even stand up. I was so unhappy with him. I mean, I could see the funny side, but not as quickly as they could see the funny side, because I was like telling what I thought was a really important educational story. Anyway, every time we see a feather now, that was more than 10 years ago. Every time we see a feather now, my husband will go, is that a sign from the universe, or did I leave it there? Horrible. Right, sorry, let me just check your comments before I go. Both your daughters are the 22nd. Wow. I don't know what that means. Google. Forrest Gump, yes. Yes, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is very wet. Yeah, how mean. Exactly, how mean. But he thought it was absolutely hilarious. I'm like, well, why was that feather there in the first place? I was trying to go down that route. He's like, we're on a farm with chickens. So, yeah, okay. But generally, trust your intuition. Generally, a feather in a random place means something. Anyway, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you spending your lunch hour with me. This will go in the units, as will all the masterclasses that I run in the future. Take care. Have a fantastic week, everybody, and get yourself manifesting.